So you're asking yourself the question, should I buy a house today or should I wait, right? That's the question that I think many people have because of just where the real estate market is, where it's come from, where they expect it to go, and all the information that you might be seeing within the media. Now, yes, there's some level of uncertainty, but what I do know is that we all need a place to live, right? And I just want to focus on some of the benefits that I believe exist within home ownership, as well as some of the opportunities that I believe exist in today's market. So I'll look at the market first. And within the Scottsdale market, which is where I specialize, in the month of January, there were 552 homes that listed for sale. And when we look at this January relative to the year prior, there were actually 3 times as many homes for sale than there were the same time last year. So in terms of opportunity, I think anyone who's looking to buy a home today would really be in a much better position because they have a lot of choice and they're not buying under duress. They're not competing with the same number of offers that they might have been last January. So this time, this year, you have the ability to make an offer, feel a little bit, better about it, do your due diligence, have that home inspection, not waive appraisals. So if you want to buy a home today, you've got a lot more options today, and that is one of the benefits of jumping into the market today. Another reason that you might want to buy a home today are the mortgage rates. And yes, there is a school, there is a camp that says, oh, mortgage rates will continue to decline. Even though the Fed fund is going up, the Fed fund interest rates are going up. They expect the mortgage rates to come down just a little bit, maybe into the 5s at some point this year. I don't know, it's a bit speculative and I don't have a crystal ball. I only know what we're dealing with today and where we've come from. So if we look at where mortgage rates were last fall, they were in the 7% range, 7.25%, 7.5%. Today they're at 6 to 6.25%, depending on your own situation, of course. But there's this little bit of a savings and it increases your budget, your purchasing power, because the interest rates have come down just a little bit. So now might be a good opportunity to buy because the mortgage rates have come down and they've settled a bit. Another thing to consider is where the values have come. Now, yes, values have come down a little bit. We haven't seen the bottom fall out. This hasn't been this crash that people might be expecting, but we've definitely seen a softening in values. And if you remember where things were last year, in 2022, we saw the interest rates, climbing. We saw the mortgage rates climbing as a result of that. And ultimately, people at the beginning of the year were jumping in, making offers. It was extremely competitive. And they were making offers that were, quite frankly, I'll say ridiculous or seemed ridiculous at the time. Those are the people that are actually owning a home today and have a decent interest rate. So maybe it wasn't so crazy, right? But it seemed crazy at the time. So what happened was, as a result of that frenzy and that demand, we saw values peak in May of 2022. In Scottsdale, the median sales price in May of 2022 was $1,067,500. If we look at where that median sales price was for January of 23, that median sales price is now $922,500, which is a difference of 13.6%. Now, it's not a crash by any means, because if we look at the values where they were January of last year, they're roughly the same. They're actually pretty close. So it was that craziness of last year that really spurred that value increase and where we peaked in May. So today might be a really good opportunity to purchase that home because the values have come down to where they were the same time last year. And the interest rates have dropped just a little bit, giving you a little bit more purchasing power. So that might be a great time for you to say, hey, we should go ahead and buy that home. Let's find our dream home. One of the other benefits to home ownership, and I do believe in home ownership, is that you have the ability to fix your monthly payment. So if you've been renting and that happens to be your particular situation, and I've seen this happen over the last three years particularly, rents have skyrocketed. And I know a lot of people that have been renting that have said, I just can't do this anymore. And they're moving every single year from a new complex to a new complex or to a new home. And they're trying to avoid that, that increase or that surge in the increases of rents. Ultimately, when you purchase a home, you're fixing your payment. So you know that when you buy the house, if you got a 30-year mortgage, your principal and your interest payment are fixed. The only thing that will adjust are the property taxes. And fortunately, the property taxes have a much smaller impact on your monthly payment, at least in Arizona, than the rental increases might. So you don't typically see increases in your property taxes of 5 or 10%. And we've seen that in the rental market over the last number of years. One of the other benefits to home ownership is that you're establishing yourself within a community. And let's face it, We're all human beings. We all want to be part of something. We want to be part of community. And if you have children that are going to the schools, you want to maintain that, that child's experience ultimately within that school district if you can, unless you're moving for different reasons. But we do like to establish ourselves within a community, meet people, and really become part of something. And it's a little bit more of a challenge to do that when you're renting, because there's no guarantee that that landlord isn't going to come to you at the expiration of your lease and say, oh, thank you so much. It's been great having you as a tenant for the last year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever that might be. And they'll say, we're looking to sell the property, so we're not going to be renewing the lease, which only then forces you to move. Maybe you got an increase in your rental costs again. So establishing yourself in a community is a great way or a great reason to buy a home. Timing the market can cost you thousands. You might think you're savvy, you're watching the market, and as soon as the market bottoms out, well, guess what? That's when you're going to buy a house. And if you could figure that out, God bless you, that would be awesome. That would be the best way to do it. In my experience, I've only found that people know when they've hit bottom when the values start going up. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my contact information below. But for now, I wish you the best in your home search. Have an awesome day.